Welcome back everyone to a new video. Today we will be participating in Extra Life United 2023 on the Parker team. Let's not talk around too much, let's get right into the timers. Let's go!
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love.
Hello, Pack Rat.
Oh, that's so much easier.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys want to just preferably watch the live stream or anything else, you feel free to tour around later on. But there's a lot to look at, and there's a lot of teleport points, and it's gonna be hard to keep up with. So, hi, judges. How you doing?
We're spectating
Doing
in your
great.
head.
We're in your head.
It should
Yeah.
work just like watching your stream.
Yeah, we'll double check that. But what I was told, the teleports will like detach you as soon as they go through. But we'll
Yeah,
find
we
out
can
here.
re-enter you pretty quick.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is a pretty involved build. We spent a lot of time on this one, so we'll be ending up back here eventually, but just try to keep up. Here we go. So we start by going over here, and we're definitely going to need one of these for later on. We're going to need a lever, so let's just grab one of those. I happen to have one on me, but let's go to the hub. So we have, first let's take a look at the build team here. We had a lot of people who spent a lot of time on this. We each have our own hospitals over the top of our heads. There's little signs for each of those. Especially, I just want to call out, especially the second head, Fire Red Lily. She spent a lot of time helping out with this. She's probably like half of this is because she exists. So, good job to them. Good job to all of them. But I got to call out the second head. But anyways, we don't have a lot of time, so let's just get on over to the first location. First, this is really focusing on what the 15 years of Extra Life, and we have 15 different rooms to show you for the 15 different years, starting, of course, with Tori here. Without Tori, there wouldn't be any of this, so we have to have at least a good representation of her. This is a bit more of a somber room, but it's an important one nonetheless. We have representation of her cheerleading days over here. This is her school logo, and it's got a good look of the basketball court that she used to cheer on top of. And we have the tumbling area over here. They got the bars that could be used, and the stuff back there. And of course, Tori was a gamer, so we definitely have to have a representation of the gaming room back there with a Wii way in the back. It's a somber area, but without Tori, of course, the rest of this wouldn't exist. So we got to at least show her here somewhere. She is an important part. But moving on. So
I just want to say, whenever he teleports, if you hit Shift and then left click him again, it takes you. For me, it's glitchy every time he teleports. But I just want you guys to know, hitting Shift takes you out of his head, and then you can click back in his head. All right, sorry.
Okay.
I've literally been Googling how to fix this. Like,
Okay. So the second place we have over here is a representation of how the people were gaming to support Extra Life. We have a good representation of somebody gaming from their home computers, and we have another person over here gaming from their home office, and somewhere we have a LAN party over here, all doing, and then we have like the bigger groups, like the Minecraft group, who would come together to do gatherings for support. And of course, this all goes up to the World Wide Web, which is the big
That's
globe
cool.
up here. This is actually a newer thing in Minecraft. It's definitely got to we like to show the new things that show up in the game, and this is a good representation of the World Wide Web just going out into the globe. So. Then we're going to go, but I'm not mired for now, but we got a lot to look at, so keep going here. Next, you're going to go to, there's more than just gaming ways that people have been fundraising, so we got to show some of those other ones too. Like people have been doing car washes to support for Extra Life, so we got a good car wash over here, and we've got some more unique ones and some really basic ones, like people just use bake sales sometimes. There's actually some good records of people doing bake sales just to support Extra Life, and of course you got the flyering house to house, just anything you can do to get the money. It's all for the kids. It's all important. And well, I guess that person left their light on. I should probably take care of that. Okay, moving on over to the next one. This is where Twitch started getting involved. This is where the content creators started getting in here. Twitch's support around 2012. They got officially in there, so Twitch is represented here. You got a more professional streaming setup over here. Not to mention, when we go over here, we got the bigger events like the EL 2012 that happened, and all the people watching that. So that was a good thing. And I've got some more representation of the Twitch over here. And then let's go to the next spot. This is one of my four favorite ones. This is where we had the guilds started to gather and game together, including Dungeons and Dragons groups. This is a good representation of someone's like basement or their den. It's a really well furnished basement, if it is one, where they're gathering together to play some Dungeons and Dragons over at a table together. Everyone's got their dice. Everyone's got something going on over here. Beautiful dragon up over in the center. Big 4x4 or 2x2 map. And of course, you can't have Dungeons and Dragons in this without showing Dungeons and Dragons. So here's a good representation of that. A bunch of people fighting some rats down here. Doing a good job on that. I'm sure there's only two left, but this poor soul is getting squished by Squishy. That guy shows up here a couple of times. And of course, you can't have Dungeons and Dragons without the dungeon. So we're going to go into the dungeon where we got some loot that they're trying to gather. They're fighting some skeletons over here. This guy's getting attacked by a mimic. That poor guy just keeps getting attacked. And of course, dungeons and, well, dragons. So we got a big fire-breathing dragon right here that's still scaring the same guy. He just can't get a break. Same guy each time. Always getting dumped on here. And of course, the dragon's the one that's guarding the big gold. So we got the big old loot pile over here. Like I said, it was the guilds, not just Dungeons and Dragons. So the guilds would also be getting their funds through other means over here on the side. So joining Extra Life and doing other things like that. And well, that's Dungeons and Dragons area. We still have much more to go. Next one. This is when people started gathering over in Disney. Where this is a good representation of when Extra Life United started happening, because you start gathering in Disney. We got the big old plane that they all started flying in on. So we've all been on those planes to get well there. I'm sure you guys know about it since you're there right now. And of course, you have the Extra Life United happening over here. To started small but got bigger. This one we actually leave the same way that you guys all leave whenever you go, by way of plane. So we're going to go up here, and we're going to leave in the back of the plane. So going right back here and gone. Next, we have, I got to check my notes here too. Oh, tabletop started becoming heavily involved at this point. Tabletop, you got lots of different ones that you can do here. We got Liar's Dice over in the corner over here, one of my favorite games, so we had to get that one going. And some just general card games right here, some nice bicycle decks. And of course, Settlers for Catan is a huge representation here. So they've been around in Extra Life a lot, and I think they need a good representation. They got some good boards going on with that. Over here, we have some checkers boards, or chess. I can never remember which. Someone eating a cookie. And finally, we have Magic the Gathering set up over in this corner. Some people playing that, and a nice board going on. Everyone seems to have Black Lotus. I don't know how they did that. I thought that was a rare card. Next, way back here, why Extra Life is something that's been a mantra for a while, and it's a pretty important thing for a lot of people. So we need to show that, because this is how a lot of people show their support, just like saying what they're doing and what it means to them. So why Extra Life is something that a lot of people use as to show their support. I mean, and they support for a lot of reasons. Some people just support just to show their support, and some people are here to support their families. It's pretty important for them, and some people are showing it for their friends. And of course, empathy is a reason that a lot of us just do it, because we all feel for all the people that are in need in the hospitals. And finally, for that, I mean, this is a room that a lot of us creators are very familiar with, the green screen room, where a lot of us did that recording, sitting in this chair and just looking out at that camera and explaining everything that we think Extra Life is about and what it means to us. Here's that room, and it should look familiar to a lot of you guys. Definitely familiar to me. But we can't look at that too long. We're about halfway done. So we got to go on to the next room. Over here let's see. Check my notes. This is where champions and gamers started to get together. We have the Facebook Live-a-thon that happened over here, with a big old stage that happened for that. And then this is something that is near and dear to me. This is where where people started going to Children's Hospitals Week, where we started going to the hospitals to see where the funds are going and how important it is. You got a good kids room over here. Love this giant teddy bear. They spent a lot of time making that one look right for that size. And of course, this is that carpet that is in every kid's room ever, the one big one that has the road going around the whole thing with the houses. If you know it, you know it. Every kid's room has that somewhere. So that had to be in here somewhere. And of course, we have represented over here, we have a nice little place for kids to do some chalk drawing. So let's just go ahead and grab some chalk. If you stand over here, you hold the chalk, you can actually edit it yourself to do the drawings live. So it could just, we have 3 different colors that you can do it with. It'll just update. And of course, we got to have an eraser, so we got to have the eraser one right here, and we got to clear it out for the next person. So let's go up here, hit the reset, back to the way it was.
Cool.
And Dairy Queen had a huge part in this too. Dairy Queen was giving out free ice cream at some point for a Children's Hospital Week, so they had to get a good representation. But that's enough about ice cream. Let's head on to the next room. There's so much to look at. We have to get to the ending, which is the important part, of course. And over here, we have 15 years where people have to have fundraising ideas. These are all things that a lot of us live streamers have done to raise funds. Like we had spinning the wheel to have things happen to us for the funds, or we have the karaoke where we're singing for money for the charity, or being boozled. We have all suffered these things one time or another to get a little bit more extra funds, and to get the hair dye incentives. I think where we dye our hair to get some money for Extra Life. I think I know that guy too. Moving on over here, we have like Twitch plays where people will take over our streams and for incentives for money, or get their names put on the board behind us, or for merchandise sales. The percentages will go towards us, or cooking streams. There's so many ways that you can just use your streams to raise money for Extra Life. So that's a bunch of the ways that we have used in the past. And then you have this one where they started getting into the convention scene. And this is actually a representation of one of the E3s where there was a human claw machine for representing Extra Life. Yeah, that was a beautiful place right there. They had a lot of fun with that. I guess it attracted a lot of attention at the entrance of E3 that year, and we have the stage over here for E3. Yes, I thought you meant like someone fell off of the claw machine. By the way, not no. E3 is dead. That took my brain a second. Okay. Yeah, E3 is dead, but at least they still lived back then. So we got the stage right there. The guy talking up front, hopefully not singing. And head them back over to the next one, which is Children's Miracle Network's representation, because obviously that's a huge part of Extra Life. So we have to have a lot of the statistics that they have going on there, like the 8 billion kids that they have helped, or $8 billion that they have supported. And this is a good representation of, this is what it used to be like. This is 1983 Children's Miracle Network telethon type of deal. They would just have like one stage, one camera, and a bunch of guys on telephones sitting on the side, just letting it ring off the hook. I actually remember seeing some of these, and all you do is you see something on stage and all you hear is phones going off in the background. I remember these. These were the way back then. And of course, we have to look at the 170 hospitals that are being represented around the world. And finally, if we look over here, one of my favorite statistics, every minute Children's Miracle Network helps 62 kids. And if you look at this, we have a good representation of 1 minute, which is 62 kids. Each nugget is a kid. I don't know if you are here live, if you're actually here, you want to right click on this, look in there. We have 1 nugget, 6 ingots. Click this. Now we have 1 hour, which is now we're at blocks of gold. Each block of gold is 9 ingots, and then you click it again. You have a box, and every stack of gold is 64 blocks. Then you have a box full of boxes. Now we're up to 2,678,000 per month. And then you go to a year, which is 32 million. Each one of these is boxes on boxes on boxes of kids that are being helped. And you go to 1 year, 2 years, you're looking further into the future, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. And we go all the way up to year 15, which if we look into the future from where we are right now, and this, like how many kids you're supporting as we're doing this cause. It's a lot of nuggets. So that's important. We're just going to reset that really quick and head on back down here. We have a couple left. This is actually their first building competition. If we look over here, we have Arcus's team. This is the first year that they did this. Arcus got third place. He had the floating islands with a moving balloon to get up to it. We have the moving balloon, obviously. That needs to be there. That's the important part. Over here we have Joey's build, which is the giant tree build. That one did pretty well. And of course, the number one, which was Good. Good actually won that year. We didn't place somehow. I don't know what was going on with that. But anyways, going back over to here, so we have the milestone room. When you talk about the money that they've been making, and we look over here, like the milestones kept breaking over and over again. Like in 2011, I mean, the Extra Life did 1 million in donations, and over here would get all the way up to 2022, where they actually broke 10 million, which is a huge thing, and like $100 million lifetime, which is such a huge accomplishment. Lots of celebration, new records broken all the time, lots of celebratory balloons. But enough celebration. We got one more spot to go, which is the like what you can do to support. We got a good look at like what you're supporting here, like how many things are happening every single day, like how many babies are being treated, and how many kids are being supported, like that happy faces that you get at the end of this, and all this kid. This is like a representation of each one of the different things you're supporting. And if you look over here, this is Extra Life is so good because all the money goes towards it. So if you look here, this is like the percentages. This is like 17% for charitable care. You can actually see each color shows how like every percentage of every dollar that you're putting into Extra Life, that's the percentage and where it's going, like education and research and advancement services. And of course, finally, if you want to talk about representation, that's where you guys are now. Extra Life United is going on right now. Tabletop appreciation coming up in August, and game day on November 4th. All of them important things. And of course, start saving your pennies for when a kid has a rainy day. So that's an important thing. And of course, you guys might be wondering why it's been so cramped this whole time. It's because, you got to save the best for last. I mean, there's a reason for this. The entire time we've been inside all of the letters for Extra Life. So each one of those rooms is actually one of the letters all the way
What
up
a
there in the
reveal.
sky. So that is the actual thing that's been going on, and that's the perfect representation. What's Extra Life? What's going on in the future? The sky's the limit, baby. That's what we're looking at. That's the actual end of this. And of course, I said we needed the lever. Well, now we can touch it. Go ahead and hit that, and we got to put it all back together again, right? So because we got to have it ready for the next person. So put that all back up. And finally, I said that we were going to go back to the beginning. So let's do that up here, back to the spawn. I did say there's a lot of stuff to look at. There's a lot of little details. Even this is a little detail because this is actually the letters the whole time. You didn't even see them. It's all in negative space. So you can, if you look carefully, each one of these is a letter. That's all the cobble. And
Nicely done.
And you can just click it, turn it back off again. And if you guys want to see the details of how all this was put together, we're going to show you where that is. That's actually the room to the right here that you didn't see. Go over here. We can go over to the map area. If we go over that direction, that's where all the maps are. You can actually use the teleports to get around, like right over here. This is where all the fake hubs are that we just blew up. So you can actually see how that works. You can see we blew up a lot of hubs to make this thing look right. It was kind of fun, and of course, and you can look over the second map spot over here. This is a good one because you can actually see what they did. These are actually, they were put in with command blocks, but in order to get them to work well in maps, a lot of these command box maps had to be completely rebuilt again, especially by Fireheart Lily. She was like the map expert, and she went through and redid a lot of these by hand. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, go ahead. This is the time.
When did you learn you only had 15 minutes?
I do that a while ago, and I've been practicing this like 10 times in order to get this all in time.
You did it exactly 15 minutes.
Hey!
Well done.
Perfect! Well, if you guys have questions, they got like a second.
It was very cool.